Greetings, greetings, greetings. My name is Ram Hotep L, kicking it with you on behalf of the number 13 SignsAstrology.com. On this episode, we're just going to kind of have a basic conversation about some basic things and principles in life that I know for a fact that a lot of people are missing right now. Um, I'm a people watcher. I watch people, I observe things, and I've been looking around and just watching people lately. Um, Luckily, the universe has been granting me a lot more time to just kind of look at things and look at people and really observe the problems in this world and the state and the condition that this world is in. And I'm one of those people that I honestly believe that we can fix this world. Like, we can change this thing around. So what? Gandhi tried to do it and he wasn't successful, even though a lot of people don't agree with his approach. So what? John F. Kennedy tried to do it, he wasn't successful, even though some people don't agree with his approach. So what? Um, Martin Luther King may have tried to change the world and he wasn't successful, or you say that he wasn't successful. So what? That doesn't mean that it shouldn't be another person that stands up and tries to affect change here on this planet, in this world. And I want to kind of address something basic that's kind of stopping us from changing this planet. It's something very basic that's stopping us from changing this planet, and that thing is ourself, me. I'm the blockage. I'm the barrier. I'm the one that's stopping this planet from changing. This is how you have to begin to look at things. See, there's nothing wrong with being selfish. I tell my clients this all the time. There's nothing wrong. People always say, well, like they get all upset and they're like, man, I think I'm too selfish, or I need to start looking out for other people more. But then when you start really observing your life, how selfish are you? How selfish really are you? Because a lot of people, they give all of their power over to other people. And even when you sitting up there gossiping about someone else, or when you sitting up there having a conversation about someone else, and you may think that that's not being that you may think that that's being selfish in and of itself, because you sit up there having a conversation about someone else and it's feeding your ego and all of that and it's pleasing you. But at the end of the day, that's not really being selfish. That's really giving your energy to someone else, because if you're sitting there talking about that person, you guess what? You're empowering that person. So you're giving your energy away to someone else. People, they sit there, and I'm saying whether it's negative or positive, but I'm kind of dealing more so with the negative today, because I want to talk about change and like how people can really truly work with the dark side of themselves to affect change, because that's what it's going to take. See, most idealists, because I mean, I'm not going to lie, I'm an idealist, to a certain extent. But I've researched a lot of different idealists and people, like thinkers, great philosophers, so-called philosophers and thinkers like Hermes and Thoth and Gandhi and Buddha and Confucius. So, I've researched Zoroaster, I've researched these different thinkers, Jesus. Even though we know he was much more than a thinker, because he had works to match up with his thoughts. And that's the difference between a philosopher, or someone that gives their opinions and views, and one who's actually does the work, or one who's a master. Because a master has work to match up with their philosophies. A master, you can meet people that may know this particular individual as a master, and they'll say, okay, yeah, his character or her character matches up with what you're seeing, reading in this particular master's books, or watching this particular master's videos, or things of that nature. So a master has the work to back his or herself up, whereas a philosopher or thinker is just a great thinker, and they have some really good ideas and things like that. And it's nothing wrong with that, like, because the thing is that thinkers have changed this world. Great thinkers, great scientists, great researchers have changed this world from just questioning stuff and not stopping at what somebody told them. So, getting back to being happy and being positive, you're never going to change this world if you're in a bad spirit. You can't do it. And when I say you're in a bad spirit, I mean like if you're in a dark spirit, if you're lost in your shadow self. And I'm going to, in this video, briefly break down to you how to get out of the dark aspect of yourself, or how to get out of your shadow self. because I get the emails. People are depressed. They're dark, so dark to the point that sometimes they just send me emails just to get a positive light and a positive word. So I do my best. I answer all the emails, even if it's just a few words, because I know people are looking for that. Like, people are really miserable right now at this stage. And when I really look and I started questioning people, because I speak to a lot of people. So I start to question different people, and I'm like, okay, so why are you miserable? Why are you so dark? What's going on with your shadow self that's bringing you into this state? And 9 times out of 10, when I question these people, the number one thing that they always tell me is that it's usually a relationship problem, or it's usually a financial problem. I'm talking about 90% of the time when I question a person as to what's causing them to feel this way. Why are you so dark? Why do you feel so moody? Oh, because I'm not really making the type of money I want to make, or I lost my job and I don't know what I'm going to do, or man, I just had this really good relationship with this woman and she left me for someone else, or I was with this guy and he was really good lover. Everything I was asking for was sexy, beautiful individual, but for some reason he had to go away. He had to move to another country, and I'm depressed and I'm bitter and I feel low. And that's the number one thing, and that's understandable. I mean, we're human beings. We get attached to things. We're creatures of habit, and we like things to go smoothly. We don't like challenge. We don't like obstacles. But if we really want this world to change, we have to become more proactive with our emotions, and more positive, more so with our thinking. Like, we can't get caught up on the dark side or look at the negative side first. That's what the problem is right now. Like, we look at the negative part of what's going on. We like what's going on with ourselves. Like, say for instance, if we try to accept a new idea or a new philosophy into our life, the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to look at the dark side. Well, what if that doesn't work? Or well, what if that happens? Or well, what if this happens? And we're never going to change the world if we always entertain the dark side first. You can entertain the dark side after you come up with a plan. You always got to weigh your options, but we entertain the dark side first, so much so that we feed into the dark side, and we go and we make up backup plans based off of, well, if this happens, then I'm gonna do that, then I'm gonna do that. We got all these backup plans based off of the dark side of our outlook, or the dark side of our vision. But what about the light side? You haven't made any plans of, well, what if you're successful? You see, like, what if you're successful? Then what would you do? And this is how you have to think when you're thinking on the law of attraction. Like, if you go out and get a lottery ticket, right? You go get you a lottery ticket and you're like, okay, I'm going to scratch this lottery ticket off. You automatically think in your mind that you're not going to win. Not everybody, but a lot of people. So you automatically get that lottery ticket and you already thinking you're not going to win, so much so that, okay, you might think that you're not going to win. But then now you go and fulfill that. You make sure that you're not going to win because you go and you go do things that's opposite of someone that just hit the lottery. And then you wonder why you don't hit the lottery once you scratch it off, is because you didn't prepare to win. The universe doesn't give anything to anybody that they don't deserve. I'll say that one more time. The universe does not give anything to anyone that they don't deserve. Whatever the universe gives you, you deserved it, whether it's good or bad. So if you're not successful in hitting the lottery, you play over and over again, obviously you don't deserve that money. For whatever reasons, whatever it was, for some reason you just do not deserve it, or the universe would have given it to you. So that's the first thing you have to look at. And another thing you have to look at in life, if you want to be happy and you want to affect change on this planet, is that we have to realize that this planet, a lot of things about your life is predetermined. Beloved, there's a lot of stuff about your life that's predetermined. Yes, you have free will. And you can do whatever it is that you want to do. But at the same time, you're stuck in who you are as far as the type of entity you are, the type of creature that you are. So if you are the type of person, say for instance, that really likes working with your hands, you really like fixing things, you really like repairing things, and you're not really the type of person, you don't like reading books, you don't like taking tests and stuff like that. And then say for instance, a person offers you a job and say, look, you could get paid $200,000 right now, and you might not be doing this work. Like you might be a handyman or just like a mechanic or something, and a person might come up to you and say, "Look, I got a $200,000 job for you right now." The only thing is that you have to embrace the fact that you want to that you might have to switch up who you are as a person to a certain extent. Like you might have to start studying computers because this is a computer-based job. You're gonna have to learn how to type. You're gonna have to be able to sit down and stare at a screen for a long period of time. You got to understand different programs and how to work with different programs simultaneously. And you might be like, "Damn, I can't do that job, but I need the money, but I can't do the job because I don't know how to do it. I don't understand it." And that's because your life has already been predetermined to a certain extent. You like working with your hands for a reason. There's a reason for that. It's bigger than just money. There's something that you must do to fulfill your purpose through your hands. And your hands are the thing that's going to help you to fulfill your purpose and your duty here to the Mother Nature and to the planet. So you have to understand that you're not this next person. So maybe it wasn't meant for you to be rich. This is where I'm getting at. Like people are depressed and dark and angry and all of that type of stuff. Number one is because they don't want to accept them and who they are and their gifts and their attributes. And if you over the age of 28, 29, you should know who you are. Some of you are younger than that. So if you're younger than that, I can understand you being envious or jealous of somebody because they got more money than you or because they got this girlfriend and you don't. When you're in your 20s, you know, you're supposed to be like that for the most part. But once you get into your 30s, you should have found yourself. You've done went through your Saturn return. You're an adult. Saturn matures you. Saturn is the father of the zodiac. So once Saturn graduates you, once you turn 33, your Saturn return is up. So by the time you hit between the ages of 28 and 33, you have to find yourself. Because if you know what's going to happen if you don't find yourself by the time you turn 33, it's going to get really dark. See, that's when people get really dark. That's why you ever meet like an old person. See, I mean, I'm not a young man, you know, in a lot of respects as far as compared to some people. I'm not a teenager. But at the same time, I feel like a teenager. I can keep up with a teenager. I can run track next to a teenager because of the fact that I found myself on one level, but then at the same time, I don't compare myself to other people, so I'm not depressed and stressed out because I don't look at my life like it's messed up, and that's why you getting old because I'm looking at all my friends and they got babies and they got children and I don't have nothing. My whole life is messed up. What am I gonna do? And I'm depressed now. I'm miserable now. I'm envious of that person. Now you're experiencing all these negative emotions. I'm jealous of that person. Now I want to go out and hurt somebody. I want to be violent. Now I want to go destroy myself and drink a bunch of 40 ounces and shoot up some heroin because now I'm depressed, or take some Percocets or some Mollies or something like that. Why? Because I'm depressed. Because I don't like my life and things aren't going good for me. See, a lot of people, they think like that. And you can't look at a person and tell. And we got young people. I'm talking about 25, 30 years old. Talking about you depressed and you jealous of somebody. You got your whole life ahead of you. Your whole life, because just because somebody got a car or you know some type of house and you went to school with them and now you all upset. So the first thing is, as far as working with your shadow self and working with the dark side of yourself, is that you want to go into yourself and find out who you are. Forget the emotions. So what you're depressed? So what you're angry? Look past that. Who are you? Then once you figure out who you are, nine times, like once you truly figure out who you are though, not, it cannot be a situation where you're looking on the outside to tell you who you are. You can have a role model. It's nothing wrong with that, but a role model is just someone to help you in a certain situation. Like you may have multiple, like I have multiple role models. I have role models, but I have role models for different situations. I have a spiritual role model, maybe one or two, maybe four or five. I have a business role model, someone, you know, a few, maybe two or three people that I look up to when it comes to business. I have a relationship role model. I have different relationships, whether they're celebrities or whoever, that I look up to. Like, okay, yeah, definitely, I can see myself and me, like me and my woman and me and my twin flame. I think we gonna connect and kick it like that. You know, like I have role models, you know, when it comes to relationships, but at the same time, I know who I am, so I can't get jealous. Like once you really get into a point where you really know who you are, it's impossible to be jealous. It's impossible, and it's definitely impossible to be envious. Because envy is when a person finds their life mission and purpose, and their friend may not have found that life mission and purpose, but their friend wants to stop them from doing their other friend from doing the life mission and purpose. The friend wants to stop the person that found their life mission and purpose from fulfilling it. That's envy. They don't even want the life mission and purpose. You heard me talk about this before. I learned this from one of my great teachers. So the thing is that a lot of cats out here nowadays don't know who they are, so they're jealous and experiencing all these emotions. You can easily free yourself from the prison of negative emotions and the dark self by having more knowledge. All dark emotions, people say, I'm dark. All of that, do you realize, beloved, all of that comes from ignorance? All of that darkness, all darkness is based on ignorance, because there's really is no such thing as darkness, but then there is. Why? Because we live in a dual existence and in a dual reality. Now, if we were to die and we were to go into the dream world, and if your third eye is open, of course, and your chakras are spinning properly, you can experience the darkness. You'll know that there's no darkness. It doesn't ever get dark outside. The sun is always out there. It never gets dark. So darkness is an illusion, just like light is an illusion. A lot of things on this planet are an illusion. So you have to realize that once you get more knowledge about yourself, you'll never experience these dark emotions that I'm going to address. Because there's 4 main dark emotions. I sat back and I thought about this and I meditated on this and I analyzed this. And there's 4 emotions that I think the world is experiencing right now that's holding us back from changing the world, because these are things that everyone I think to a certain extent needs to change or work on and change within themselves. And this is self-improvement. This is not religion. So I'm teaching you about yourself. So the first thing is depression. I've been talking a lot about depression throughout this video. You cannot change the world if you're depressed. Depression is a dark emotion based in water. And the only way out of depression is faith. Because depression, 9 times out of 10, comes from the person that's depressed having a negative expectancy about something dealing in their future. Most people that are depressed are not depressed about what's going on in the now or even in the past. They may say that they're depressed about, okay, I just lost somebody, so I'm depressed. That's understandable. You just lost a family member or somebody died. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about somebody that, for the most part, has been decent in life. Like, they haven't really lost anybody. They may just be a loner or a hermit, and they sit around for days in on out in a room somewhere watching television with all the lights off, and they don't never leave the house. And all they do is just sit there and watch TV all day. That's depression, or they don't have anything to do. That's depression. And that comes from that person doesn't want to get out and break their depression because they have a fear. They have a negative expectancy about if they were to go outside of the box of watching TV or outside of their depression box and go out into the real world, they have a negative expectancy of what's to come or what they're going to see or what they're going to witness. So they stay in that comfort zone. So you got to break out of that. Like, you got to break out of the depression aspect of life. Like, I mean, as in my 20s, I spent a lot of years depressed. So I understand depression. I was depressed because I didn't know who the hell I was. And I didn't fit in. So that's how I know it had a lot to do with just knowledge. Had I had known who I was, once I figured out who I was, all that went away. I stopped comparing myself to other people, all of that. Once I really figured out who I was, though. So that's one thing you got to break out of. You got to have more faith in the future, in the outcome of things. Begin to act and play things out and role play even by yourself. It's like, say for instance, you're depressed and you really want to go out to yoga and go converse and meet with people, but you like, what if I go to yoga and take off my clothes and people see my rolls? I don't want nobody to see that. I'm not going to go. I'm going to stay in. That's depression because you have a negative expectancy of the future. Got to break out of that. Another thing people are stuck on right now is anger. A lot of people are angry. And you're angry because things didn't go the way you wanted them to go. Or you're angry. That's usually 9 times out of 10 why a person is angry. And most people that are angry don't even realize they are. They don't realize they're angry. Like, you huffing and puffing. Every time somebody do something to you, just even so much as look at you. Like, you even so much as look at me, I'm gonna knock your fucking head off. You even so much as look at me, crazy. You angry. You going out and taking your anger out on people. And most of the time, they angry because something didn't go the way they wanted to go, or they didn't get something that they thought they were supposed to get. And they see the next person with it, and now they're angry. See, again, you looking outside of yourself. You gotta look into the mirror every day and ask yourself, who are you, though? Who is Jane? Who is Dick? Who is Keisha? Who is Nefertiti? Who is Aset? You see? Who is Mustafa? Like, you gotta ask yourself, who are you? Like, I'm serious about this. Like, because we don't know. Everything in the world, in these molds and images that we put ourselves in, are pre-made images. And if you don't fit the pre-made image, or you don't fit the bill, then you don't make it. That's how this world is set up. So we can't change that until people can first know themselves and demand and say, hey, I know that I'm not the type of person that's supposed to be working 40 hours a week. That's not my work ethic. I don't work like that. I can't spend 40 hours working a week. I'm the type of person that's only supposed to be working 20 hours a week because I value my recreation. So therefore, I'm not going to have as many material things in this life because I'm not going to be working on 40 hours a week, and I'm not going to be made to feel bad about it. I'm going to accept my situation. If that means I'm not going to make as much money, whatever it means, that's just not me. And you got to be able to say that and know that. So then when you go out in the track and you do your rituals and stuff like that, you know what to ask for. You ever heard that saying, be careful what you ask for because you just might get it? Yeah, a lot of people ask for things and they get it and mess their life up. You don't go out and ask for $1 million and you never even made more than $8 an hour. Because you're asking to mess your life up. And even a man that was rich that may have grew up separate from his children, he may be a multi-millionaire, and then when his children grow up, he's not just going to give the children $1 million. It's not going to happen like that. He's going to make them prove themselves based off the money he gives them because he wants to teach them discipline. You have to have a certain discipline and etiquette to get $1 million. So don't go compare yourself to somebody that has $1 million because you don't know their responsibilities. You don't know their problems. So yeah, you got to get over anger. Anger has to go. Confusion. You cannot be confused. A lot of people are confused. That's going into the air element. See, anger deals with the fire element. I failed to mention that. That's when your fire element's knocked off. That's the dark part of your fire part of yourself. That's the shadow side of fire. There's a light side to every element and there's a shadow side to it. So a lot of people are confused. And confusion is just like the tornado. You get caught up in the winds of confusion. And why? Because again, you're looking out. You're getting caught up into the cares of the world. Because you're looking out at the world and the pre-made images that the world has, when really this world is more of a mirage. This is a maze. And it's an illusion, and things that look and appear to be this way when they're really not. Everything about this world, you have to know that there's appearance, but it's really not that. This world is a cult. There's the exterior world, then there's the interior world. So if you're confused, it's because you're looking out too much to try to figure out who you are from the outside. You don't figure out who you are from the outside. That's getting caught up into the whims of confusion. The cares of the world. You go in to the heart because you live here. The very spark of life of yours is right here. And you find out who you are from right here, beloved. And you grow out. You blossom out. Not the other way in. So you have to be like a flower. So the only way to unconfuse yourself is through unity. Is to uniting all the different aspects of yourself and bringing all of those parts together and making all of those parts of yourself a part of your everyday life. You have to make all of those isolated parts of yourself and those isolated aspects of your character. You want to make all of those a part of your life. So then it's not like a wild part of yourself. See, this is, and I know this sounds real philosophical, but just check this out. Follow me for a minute. If you work a job and you go to that job, there's certain parts of yourself that you can't show, right? Most people that work jobs, they're like, man, certain parts of myself, I can't show that part because then my boss won't See, that's not you. So that means that then you suppress that part of yourself. Then you might get home. Then there's other parts of yourself you can't show at home, your husband and wife, because they might not accept that part of you. You're living in an illusion, and you're making the illusion real. And then you wonder why you're confused because you caught up into the cares of the world. You didn't ask before you made the decision to get with your husband and wife. You didn't ask yourself, was you at peace with that? So you let the physical attract you. Only when you have to get past the physical. This is why no matter how beautiful a woman is, and I've seen some beautiful women in my day, trust me, I gotta look at the heart because I'm a feeling being. I have a Pisces moon, I feel people. So you could be beautiful, but if you like your personality doesn't match up with mine, I'm not gonna be able to do it. I've been like that. That's why I've always been different. I was always the oddball. Because of the fact that I'm looking at a woman past how she looks physically. The physical is important, but it's very temporary and it can be altered and changed. So I understand who I am. I unite all the aspects of myself, and I look for all the aspects of myself in a relationship. I look for all the aspects of myself in the work that I do. I look for all the aspects of myself in the place that I choose to lay my head at. Because it's important on who you are. You can call that selfish or not. It's not selfish. It's you. You are so important here on this realm. This is why I feel like revolution is teaching people to be more selfish. I'm causing a revolution by doing that. Because you're so important here on this realm. You just don't understand how important you are. There will be no stage without you. And you create everything and how it plays out from within. So you gotta know that. You gotta know that. Now lastly, but definitely not least, is a lot of people are greedy. Their shadow self is locked into greed. You gotta overcome that. You have to overcome the greed. This is locked into the earth element, the material element. You have to understand how material things work. Most people are greedy because of the fact that the most greediest people are the people that at one point had nothing. And they're scared to lose what little they have. So they don't want to lose that. So they protect it through the emotion, the negative emotion of greed, which is to go and get more and to hoard and to hide and keep from other people. Give, when the secret to abundance is giving. And they got you thinking the secret to abundance is taking. And taking away from a partaking means to take away. Like to subtract. To give is to add on. You say, well, nah, if I give something to somebody, that's taken away from me. No. If you're giving something, you're adding to your collective karma. On the positive side, you're giving, so you're adding. You're adding to the world. And when you take, you're taking away from the world. And people wonder why the world is messed up. The world is messed up because of this. I'm telling you. This is why it inspires me to continue this channel. This is why I will continue to make videos on many different topics. Is because of this. The way we think. A lot of times we don't think. That is the way we think a lot of times. The way we think is just don't think. Just do. Just go off instinct. Totally instinctual. Totally caught up in the reptilian part. Or the lower nature, or the part below the belly. The lower chakra part, for those people that may not resonate with the alien information. Totally caught up in below the belly. When you're not even using this. We very rarely use this. Men, women, and men. You don't think. We just do. So, gotta overcome that. I'm not beating up on anybody. I'm trying to make people better. That's my goal, to make good people better. I found my mission purpose, and with that, I have everything that I want. I'm not without. But I can't live comfortably. See, now I'm to a point where, and I'm going to make this last point, and I'll shut the video down. It's pretty much over now. I just want to make this point. But I'm to the point where now that I'm really have overcome the selfish part of my personal self. You ask a person, like, well, what do you want? Like, what do you want? Outside of comfortable living and peace of mind and, you know, definitely a beautiful woman to look at, waking up every day, which is in the works. But outside of those things, I'm good. I'm totally fine. But at the same time, I am very ambitious. I still work hard. I'm not content because of the fact that now what I want and the things that I want are based on other people. And other people have to change. So now I'm getting more into caring about other people, even more so as I get deeper into my 30s. I know I just revealed my age, so what? But as I get deeper into, because I look damn good for my age, so, you know, I'm not trying to be egotistical, but I love myself. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm trying to help other people though now, because this world will be a better place. See, I realize we're all connected. So I could so-called have it all, but be isolated. As soon as I bring someone into my little isolated kingdom, it's going to come crashing down. Why? Because for one thing, I don't have skills in working with other people, obviously, because I'm in this isolated kingdom. And as soon as someone comes in, it's going to come crashing down. But then, two, it's not only just me, but then the person that I'm bringing in, of course, is not going to be on the level of understanding that I may be on, because I'm in this isolated box. And I didn't share myself with the world, so a person doesn't really know how you think because you didn't share yourself with the world. So now I want to see people become better, so I share myself with the world. I share my heart with the world. I share my spirit with the world, because I know it's contagious. See, light is contagious. Like when you're a baby, you're fascinated by the lights. And this is what I'm speaking here, is the light. So even a baby that can't hardly see is fascinated by the lights. Even a gnat, a pesky gnat that you can't even barely see their eyes, but they're attracted to the energy coming from the light. Many beings are attracted to the light. They can't even see, they're blind, but they're still attracted to the light. So you're the light, beloved. You have to be that. Be magnificent. Be brilliant as the light. Illuminate. Be illuminating. You're not these things because of how smart you are, or all of that. You become the light based on how much you care about giving of yourself and showing different parts of yourself so that you can stimulate growth in the environment. This is what it's all about. When you, even if only 5 people listening to what you're doing, you're changing the world. If only 5 people witness your change, you've changed the world, because people saw you change. And they saw you transfigure, and that goes into the memory bank of the collective consciousness. So now somebody else is going to come back one day and tap into that, and they're going to change the world. And it continues to happen. You see, if Edgar Cayce hadn't done what he did, if Martin Luther King hadn't done what he did, if Confucius and Buddha hadn't did what they did, we wouldn't be here today. There would be no Ram Hotep El to talk about this. There would be none of us. We wouldn't be here today. So we have to give thanks and give credit where credit is due. So be you, beloved. Don't worry about being anyone else. Be you. You're beautiful. Tell yourself that every day. If you're a male, say, man, I'm handsome. Tell yourself the opposite. Even tell yourself something you can't even believe about yourself. Look in the mirror and tell yourself something that you can't even believe about yourself. The thing that you would think that you're not, tell yourself you're that. And then go outside and notice how you're reacting. And keep thinking that, and notice how people start treating you. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this video down. I thank you for listening. I thank you for watching. And until we meet again, I'll leave you in. Namaste.